Let's talk about it. We do need to switch out the Dapper Gaffer logo.
Yes,
you have a
true.
logo, right?
We'll have to get that made real quick. It's a mustache and a gaffer's glass.
And somebody cut it out of paper right now. Just stick it in there and start it on fire.
It's LED. It should be all right.
Wax jar.
Mustache wax.
Yeah. All right. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hello and welcome to the Dapper Gaffer channel. We're here at City Stage Studios in Rockford, Illinois, hanging out in the podcast booth today. And we have two very special guests, my favorite people from North Dakota.
All right.
Probably the
Bismarck.
only people I know in North Dakota, actually.
Yeah. That's true. I think the only people in North Dakota.
No, we're not going to trash talk ND.
That's my only.
That's my only part of the country.
That's it. I'm done.
We'll take it.
We were talking last night. I've got friends have been up near, Fargo area and things like that. So
They've heard North Dakota exists.
They've heard that it exists, that it's not part of Canada.
Yeah.
Does Canada exist? We don't know.
What he's been there.
Touchy
Is it a
subject
country?
for-
Yeah. We're feeling spicy this morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us, by the way. Yeah, we were we flew into Chicago. We drove right to
Oh, you did
Rockford,
fly. Okay.
And we were filming right outside Broadhead, Wisconsin, and filming some seeds and some little grasses and
Filming some grass grow. So it sounds like.
Yeah. Lots of time.
riveting stuff.
Stay
4 days
tuned
of
next
time
week
lapse.
for watching paint dry. It's gonna be
Yeah.
And then for those of you who you probably know Victor, he's the one that's been DPing a lot of the Dapper Gaffer stuff, and I think we did like a pod early on.
We did do a
as well.
podcast early on. Yep. Probably
yeah.
something we should do more often.
Probably something we should do more
Yeah.
often. So intro to you guys, like you. If you don't know Threefold, you should. They've got a great YouTube channel, just great dudes. We hit it off really well, good friends, and they have like what I would describe as like a kind of hit squad style production company out of Bismarck, North Dakota. Really do some next level work. Have a studio up there they recently built out that you can check out their channel on all that, and just sets and lighting. But so we met at NAB a few years ago now, 3 years ago maybe.
Yeah.
3, yeah.
Just
Our first NAB.
what was it really?
Yeah, it was our first NAB. It was our first, the Cinekit.
Syndicate list,
yeah.
with Travis. Yeah.
Oh.
So we were going in pretty blind. We didn't know many people at that point. So
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about going for 10 years or 10 years plus, wanting to go, and finally, with our YouTube channel, we got some invites to go to like the Aperture Super Secret Film Dinner, and this was like a week before the event, and we're like, all right, next year we have to go. Like, we're getting invited to cool things, we have to go. So we finally made it a priority, and we've been there every year since.
I didn't realize that was your first year.
Yeah.
You guys seemed like pros.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
But the funny thing is we just kept, I think, I remember that night I met you guys. I didn't know who you were. You didn't know who I was. You still don't know who I am, but here we are. And then we just kind of bumped into each other a bunch of different places I felt throughout the event, and kind of became.
I don't know what it was
pretty
about
good
that
friends,
first year on the show floor, but it was you guys and a few other people that everywhere we went, we were all on the same route, and it was just like we would cross paths like multiple
nonstop.
times a day. Like, this year wasn't that way. We didn't run into as many people, and maybe we didn't have a route.
We weren't
planned.
stalking you as much this
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Is really what it was.
This is all part of his plan to get you here.
That's right.
From the get-go.
Who does your lighting, by the way? Is it a collaborative effort, or is it?
It's mostly me, Zach, and Adam. So
A collaborative effort.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of a mixed bag. It depends. Me and Zach do a lot of the lighting design. Adam helps with some of the programming and some of the more technical things like that. He has a lot of background in live production, so obviously
lighting programming from that.
Yeah. So obviously that's kind of evolving though too, or it has been over the last couple of years.
Sure.
But so it's really me who gets kind of nerdy with the lighting and the tech when we get to NAB. So
Yeah.
Well, what I've seen, like you guys have figured out the lighting game for, it's good. Like and in my opinion, the lighting is like a huge part of the emotion of the piece. And kind of how I got into lighting was, I used to kind of run a little production company and DP'd for a while, but I found I spent all my time thinking about the lighting because in my mind, it was like the number one thing that kind of set the men apart from the boys, so to
Yeah.
speak. Like
Yeah.
it was like if you really wanted it to look professional or cinematic, obviously you got to know how to compose and move the camera and all this other stuff. But if it's not lit well,
Yeah.
it just doesn't look.
trash.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's trash. Absolutely.
That's one of the things we probably tell our clients the most is because they don't know, they don't care about the cameras as very much, but it's like, hey, we're going to bring in a lot of lights. We're probably going to turn off all the lights that you have in your office. They aren't helping us
Because
at
they
all, and like we're going to light everything ourselves, and that's the difference. Like that's why our projects cost what they do.
That's why our
too.
stuff looks like this and theirs doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's been a big part of what we've done, and NAB is always exciting because being in North Dakota, it's there's nowhere else to rent lights from, so and renting lights online and shipping them, it's not.
It'd probably confidently say you guys have a better lighting inventory than anyone else in Bismarck.
Yes,
for film.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have quite a bit now. I've slowly built it out over the years, and again, because it's if we don't have it in house, there's really not many other options.
Yeah, where are you
in
gonna
this
go, right?
6-hour radius. So, yeah.
No, but NAB's fun because it's I don't mess with the lights as much. I did at one point when it was a smaller team, and I know a little bit, but leave that to them. But it is fun to see all the stuff that comes out, and both little things and big things. And it's like this year we got some Godox big mats that we've been looking for. We have a big overhead in the studio.
Very
and
jealous. I saw those and.
Yeah, and we've.
I mean, very happy for you is what I meant to say. But.
We have super heavy Novas in our overhead right now, and it's like this is not just finding things that work better for what we're doing.
They're not bad, but yeah, there's definitely a better option. And so,
Yeah.
What was your favorite thing? Favorite booth? Favorite?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of went in primarily looking at the 5,000 watt fixtures. That was the main
Yeah.
thing I wanted to look at because it's what's pushing the edge of what LED stuff can do. And Nanlite, Aperture, and Godox all had something in that ballpark. So we did some live streams on the channel too, which in retrospect, I'm surprised we actually got those to work. A lot of people talked to me afterwards, like, how did you get a stable connection to do that?
Oh, really?
Like, nobody. So I don't know if it was just like convenience of the timing of like when we were doing it. Because
We were intentional about that. We talked about that from the get-go.
Yeah, it was like we just got to wait till it's slow and I don't know, like 'cause we were just using 5G on an iPhone, but yeah.
It worked. I spent some time in the lighting areas. Were there a lot of new technologies or new lights in the market this year?
I mean, the thing that stood out to us, Godox released it 3 months before, was their little MS60Rs. Not that they're totally new, but I was really drawn to them just because of how, I don't know, they just have so many options. They're like
very
projection
modular
mounts.
and just unique, not like something anyone else is doing.
Yeah,
It's
like
kinda
it was kind of refreshing to see. It was like a very unique approach to, in a lot of ways, what they were trying to do with those little lights. I mean, that Aperture Blare stuff that came out this year, but that was, correct me if I'm wrong, was that because they bought ProLight and that was their tech, and now they integrated the
well,
whole...
it was. I don't know exactly, but I mean, it was like a marriage of the two technologies. But I think Tim King was a big driving force behind that chip too. So I'm not.
Yeah.
By the way, big fan of that. I mean, the 1000C.
Yep.
We used that on a project. What we were lighting it basically for sun in a kitchen out in Indiana.
Yeah.
And
When you called me on the phone, I'm like, I'm on this random place in Indianapolis.
Big Airbnb, and the Josiah, right away I was like, okay, we definitely need something coming in, hitting all the cupboards and the stainless steel. So let's see if we can put that 1000C outside. And I kind of didn't see him turn it on. So I came back in, and all of a sudden I look into the room. I'm like, oh, there's the sun out? But it looks so good. It looks so natural. With the other LEDs, you can tell, it's simulated. But that one, the new technology.
They figured something out with the indigo chip in there. I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like that was probably the first time I was really like, it gave, and the fact that you can switch between like daylight or black body modes, which is an interesting option, kind of based on how much, I guess, indigo gets pushed into that or something. But it did feel more real.
Yeah.
Other than the Blair stuff, I feel like it's just lights are getting bigger, and like I said, like obviously everyone's doing tubes, everyone's kind of doing what everyone else is doing to some degree.
Yeah, and I feel like that's why the MS60Rs stick out, because it's
Yeah, it was so different. It's such a different
aperture
approach.
now, like Godox, it's just kind of all very similar. You know, everybody's got a
Yeah.
120, everybody's got a 300. That they're just slight variations. And besides,
Yeah.
aperture coming out with Blair, like that's huge. But then actual, a new piece of lighting thing that has a lot of modularity to it. And
Yeah. The other thing I saw a lot was the amount of lenses, like affordable cinema lenses coming out. It's just like it's even hard to just keep track of it this
I know.
this year, because it's like for the last couple of years, every year there's new like affordable in the $1,000 to $3,000 range.
Yeah.
we talked
Lenses.
with Ryan.
What
you know
flavor
Ryan
do you want?
Avery.
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, we talked to him, and he goes like, "How are there this many companies?" He's like, "I know the market for this for
Yeah.
these lenses."
Well,
He's like,
that's
"This
what-
doesn't make sense."
That's what I think about the lighting companies. There are
Yeah.
so many now.
Yeah, they're slugging it out.
Yeah, really. But I mean, it's that was the kind of cool thing to see is the amount of companies that are kind of doing the similar things in different
And
ways.
some of them merging too, though, is interesting. Like, I mean, Light Panels bought Quasar a couple years
yeah.
ago, and then like, so Chauvet, which is like a live event, lighting brand, bought Kino. Was it a year ago or just over a year ago? And then now, Light Gear is under their umbrella as well. So Light Gear and Kino are basically the
Videndum
same.
has picked up a lot of
them.
them.
Videndum is the Light Panels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of that, I'll be interested to see follow like the Kino Light Gear deal, because they were almost like competitors really to each other, kind of similar
Yeah,
form
that
factor
is-
stuff. So maybe we'll get some great birth of technology, kind of like with the ProLight and Aperture, kind of marrying those two things together. But we'll see.
Looking at gear to me it's fun. Obviously, it's great. And I know Josiah's you kind of have more of an agenda than I do with lighting in particular. But to me, it's just
I like that.
I mean, you're
Sounds very aggressive.
You're
Like,
very
yeah, it's good.
purposeful, which I actually respect.
Every time I talk to someone, there's some angle I'm working.
Yeah.
It's just,
Wheeling,
I really
dealing.
don't want to talk to you. I just am, trying to get something.
Fulfilling
out.
my
Lights.
agenda.
Yeah. No, but I came back this year and last year. It's so good to be around so many creatives, people that do exactly what you do, just in a different part of the country, and it gets me fired up to sometimes you go in these lulls of you're in your own little world, your own little area of the country, and sometimes I know I can tend to get lazy. And it's good it's like a refresher, like being around so many people. That's probably what I get the most out of it. How was it for you guys this year in Vegas?
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, that was kind of the reason after the first year we realized we're like, this needs to be a priority. Because, again, you kind of think of NAB as like, there's just a bunch of gear announcements. Like, there's great coverage online now, so it's like, why go? But we started the YouTube channel because of that same reason of like, we want to have connections. We want to talk with people, because North Dakota, there's not a lot of it. It's not a big film community. Big surprise, right?
Yet. It's
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
there.
it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
And then you get challenged by other people. You get forced to have conversations about even gear or technical stuff that it's like, we don't use those lights, we don't use those, but if you're in LA or New York or some of the bigger film cities and you're on new sets all the time, you work with different people, you work with different gear, and we
to a
just
lot
work
more.
with the gear that we own. So we don't get challenged in that way, where it's like get challenged on the way you think and the way you operate and the way that you light something, and just being able to hear people's different perspectives and on that stuff is good refresher. And after the first year, we're like, this is actually the most beneficial part about going to NAB. It's the gear's cool, it's fun, but it's definitely just a reason to get everybody in the same room.
Yeah, that's just really the sparkle that catches your attention.
Yeah.
But like it's the talking to people, the networking, and that creative energy. To just everyone's kind of somewhat in the same vein, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what you guys use mainly in the studio. What kind of lighting kit?
We've been pretty big Aperture fanboys, not gonna lie. I mean, from the beginning, they were kind of, when it came to LEDs, one of the big people that I think pushed LEDs to become what they are in the industry.
Yeah.
They are pretty much the ones that established like the chip on board Bowens.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Yep.
'cause when they did the 300, it was just super exciting, right? It was amazing value for the price and everything, and they've obviously gotten really good over the years. So we've just like,
And even at the time, the quality of the white light they were putting out,
Yeah.
as cheap fixtures, was pretty good.
yeah, it was. And so yeah, we've been using aperture pretty heavily. And Godox came out with some stuff, and I just, like I said, I'd been following some Nanlite stuff, but there was a lot of similarities. So it's just like really didn't mess with many other brands because we were happy with what we had.
We wanted to try and keep the same ecosystem too for what we were building out. Like we're buying it, we're using it, we're not renting it. It's like let's keep the same ecosystem. It's easy to use for kind of the time being anyway. And so that was a big kind of reason for it too. Was like, all right, let's kind of have the same system for familiarity of what we're using. And
yeah, so we've got gobs of their cob lights and
Gobs of cob.
Yep,
That's
gobs
the new
of the cobs
Instagram
lights.
handle.
yeah,
What's your biggest light up hanging up? What is that one?
So our overhead is just got Novas in it, aperture Novas.
Oh, okay.
so it's a 12x12. So that's a 12x12 softbox, and then we have a rolling 8x8 that has some that just has some mats in there.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we actually, so those are just the 300 watt Novas. Got 4 of them. So it's not an insane amount of output. It's only 1200 watts for a pretty big light fixture. We ended up taking those from our old studio because they were our space lights for our cyc wall. That's what we used.
Okay,
and so
okay.
it was a pretty easy, just like, well, let's just move them over and they'll be overhead softbox. And that's what we were really interested in seeing. And what I had been keeping an eye on was Godox's light panels because they came out with some bicolor stuff a couple NABs ago and then announced the RGB WW because I told him, I was like, I really don't want to buy a bicolor that doesn't have green magenta shift to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, then they came out with the 4x4s and that's what we're switching to now for that overhead stuff.
And the build just seems to be way better than the previous Gen 2 from seeing it in person.
Yeah,
of that stuff.
We just got them in. They feel great. They feel really rigid, and it was again being in the aperture ecosystem, we wanted to like the Infinimats, but they're just so far rental grade from what we need. It's like we don't need them to be weatherproof and indestructible. Like these are more than likely never leaving our studio, and we were like, all right, we wanted to look at some more options for our studio for price point, especially because it was like, all right, for the first time, this really doesn't make sense for our studio.
Because we have the 12x12 overhead softbox, and then we have a rolling 8x softbox. And so when we're looking at it, it was like, okay, we want something for both of those with RGB WW. So we have that green magenta shift in there as well. And so then when you're looking at like what it costs to fill out 2 of those, it's like, oh, this gets expensive quick.
Yeah.
So like,
What your rolling softbox? What's that?
so that's a Honeycrates, like I said, 8x8 softbox, and then we have some Falconized, just bicolor panels in there. And it's fine.
Yeah, so Honeycrates, are you familiar with Honeycrates?
I'm not. No.
So
It's like an LCD or
they basically make softbox, like big well, they make a lot of different softboxes, but they make like build around 1-inch tube 1-inch square frame, these ready to go softbox solutions. And shout out Decon, he's been at Aperture a lot. He has a little company that makes
candy sticks,
I think, or honey sticks, and they're like, you put them on a combo stand, and they basically turn it into a rolling, tilting, like softbox.
It's a lot better than just your typical ears because you can actually counterbalance the entire system. So if you have a lot of heavy lights in the back, because it's basically just a big softbox out of 1-inch square tube. But if you're using heavy lights like Novas on the back, and you'd loosen the lollipop, that thing would just go swinging. And
Kiko,
so
we have a YouTube video on the Honeycrates you could pull up to show them too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
About it.
But yeah, that's a really great. So he kind of collaborated with Honeycrates to make these standalone little adapter pieces. So it makes adjusting this big rolling 8x softbox super handy. But yeah, anyways, so the lights that we have in there, that was another one. I was like, we want to upgrade those. We want to upgrade the overheads, but we've been waiting for the right light.
And Godox put something out that tickled your fancy.
Yeah.
I mean, that was probably one of the biggest things that I came away from was Godox is here to play. Like from the show, like they had some impressive stuff out. I do feel like their documentation needs to catch up. Like
Yeah.
they didn't have some answers, some questions, you know.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be reviewing one of their lights on Monday, and I've been
Yeah.
messaging their people back and forth like, they don't even, there's stuff that I feel like they don't know about. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the build and stuff and what they're putting out, it's like they're not messing around.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Ballast.
Here we go. Let's see this.
So that's that. So it has a huge LCD on it, and it's a sweet fixture. Like I said, it basically lives built in our studio.
So
There's our
clean and
industry standard tarp on that 12 by.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
There he is, Danny.
Danny from Honeycrates.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you don't know him.
I don't actually, so maybe I should.
He's a great guy.
Does he go to NAB?
He used to. He owns Ragtime Rentals in LA, and they're like, and is part of like one of the biggest cinema cloth companies. Like
Sure,
they do all the
okay.
Avenger movies for Blue Screen and
Yeah.
all that. And he's in LA and Atlanta. Kind of goes back and forth. So
You guys ever done Cinegear?
No.
we've talked
We
about it
haven't,
for
yeah.
years, and
We'd like to.
it after being at NAB, it makes me really want to go more because there's a lot at NAB that doesn't make any sense for us, and it's like, especially in years past when there's 4 halls, it's like there's 2 of them that make 0 sense, and then
Yeah.
like even the Black Magic hall, it's like we basically go to South just for Black Magic.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's like
Yeah.
we spend the whole time in Central. And it's like, and there's a lot of companies that don't go to NAB. Like this year, Dana Dolly didn't show up.
Yeah, that's right.
Motomo, and there's quite a few others that Honeycrates doesn't go, but they all go to Cinegear, and it's like there's a lot of companies that we really like that don't go to NAB that it would be fun to interact with and just have a really more focused in.
Sure.
Just like every booth is like this is all applicable minus the techno cranes that we can't afford, but wish we could.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of them are just out there, so it's more convenient for them to get to and all that too. But
Yeah,
Maybe we just say it here now. Let's just go.
yeah.
Maybe just make the
not
call.
this year. We should probably go sometime, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm not a big LA guy in general.
I know.
Oh, you'll be
Let's go to the
fine.
Atlanta one.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, we
Yeah.
could do that.
What's that one called?
It's the same.
Same-
Cinegear.
Oh,
They just
same.
hosted out there
Okay.
too.
Yeah. LA
But-
film was falling apart, so they just said like,
Yeah,
all right, Atlanta.
NAB, I just like that it's in Vegas. It's so easy to get in and out.
Yeah.
and just,
Yeah.
And it's usually pretty like
Generally,
reasonable
yeah.
too. Like pretty cheap flights getting there.
I know
and-
Cinegear is more of like a barbecue party idea,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
shorter, but it is definitely more focused. And from what I've seen, it's a lot more
Yeah.
specifically film production stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
we'll hit it one of these years.
I feel like it might be even better networking.
Well, it depends. I think it depends too, and that's like if you are, and this is me speaking from not having been there, but from having to talk to many people who go. Like it's like if you are into the film, like you're doing film, like
Right.
that's your path. You want to work on movies, or you want to. That's your thing. Night and day, that's where you want to be, because that's, I mean, Deacons and whoever else are going to be walking around, and it's just that's the focus, is like we're making movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other stuff is kind of a byproduct of it. So me, that's not really my,
Yeah.
I like working on that occasionally, but I have a family and that's not my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The commercial world. And I feel like there's a lot of YouTubers that go to NAB too.
Yeah.
And I don't
there
know
is.
if it's so much, and not that that's my crowd either, but like I don't know, in a way it feels like maybe a little bit more traction oriented networking than talking to Roger Deakins, as much as I'd like to talk to Deakins.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we did talk to Shane though. That was great.
Shane usually goes.
Yeah,
to that too,
yeah.
but,
I was curious, maybe a little off topic. Apologize if it is, but did you guys start out in this wanting to just do commercial videos, or did you have like a film desire in the background?
No, that was a big thing. Like, and why we wanted to do it too was I'd worked with, and I'm sure everyone knows people that are, want this, but I heard so much that it's like, yeah, I'm just doing commercials so that I can do my short film. I was like, at the end of the day, it's like, I enjoyed the commercial stuff, and I saw that it was like, okay, there's potential to do creative stuff with it. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be like such a negative thing.
Yeah.
And I just personally, I was like, I don't have a script. I don't have a movie.
Yeah.
I
No
want to
drive.
make. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't there.
When it's like we can get our creative fill doing the right client work, right? If we
Sure.
can convince
Yeah.
clients to let us get creative and have fun, and you know, and there's been a couple narrative projects through the years, and it's like we'd like to do more, a few more like studio stuff, but even more where it's a narrative project and it is, you know, loosely telling, you know, or incorporating a brand where it's just, you know, a whatever dove at the end, where it's like, oh, I didn't even realize I was watching that, right?
Yeah.
So it was always like, all right, let's shoot for that, because there's plenty of people
Brand
where
piece
we're at.
sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people where we're from that were like, I'm only doing commercial to, you know, to make my short film. And
Yeah,
it's like,
I get that, and for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of, I guess I feel like I'm a little bit more in a similar boat to you guys. Like it was, sure, I love the idea of making movies, and I've produced, you know, some stuff, and I help other people with their projects.
Yeah.
But I also knew the lifestyle that comes with that. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't have a family and work on movies, but it's a lot more challenging to balance that.
Yeah.
From what
your family has to be in the movie if you want
pretty
that.
much.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were to wait, what
Nothing.
if I
here.
were to jump on a movie, like it's almost like it'd have to be here in Rockford,
Yeah.
or my family would come with me. Yeah, that's just kind of how
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
decided to live my life, you know. But
Yeah, 'cause
but the commercial world, like you can do it in 2 to 3 day stints and still
it's manageable.
do some cool creative stuff, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, movies are being filmed in 25 days now too, though. So
that's
You know?
sounds impossible.
it does sound impossible, but it's crazy. They make it happen. Interesting. So just commercial stuff. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you do get that fulfillment. I definitely do. I started out wanting to just film. Film was the goal. And then I discovered that you could do it for businesses, and it just was like, well, it's basically the same thing, just in smaller, smaller stints. So,
when I explain, I mean, because here in this like not major metro, like we're close to a major metro, but like explaining to people, I usually describe it as it's like making a movie, but it's for advertising. Like that's pretty much what we do. It's the same process.
100%.
Yeah.
But it's a different platform and shorter.
Instead of 90 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Yeah. Sorry to
Maybe
derail.
90 seconds.
I know we're talking lights mainly, but
Yeah.
I was curious.
That's a good question.
Just full disclosure, we're double dipping on this podcast, and that's going to be a great
The
way.
people don't know.
The people don't know. They're going to know now. So this is going to be a good plug for Victor and I, who you've probably seen around on some other stuff on the channel, also spearheads a podcast called City Stage and Friends. So we were actually recording that, and you should hop over and give that channel a subscribe, because I think there's some great content out there, and the subscriber count does not reflect that. So if you're interested in, essentially on that podcast, we talk to creative people who make a living doing creative stuff. So, I mean, largely digital media, related people, photographers, filmmakers, agency people, and we just kind of sit down and talk shop, and I think you should check it out.
Yeah, it's funny because I think I don't know what the engagement's like for you guys on some of your longer format stuff, but I think it's harder to reel people in, especially with like the hundreds of millions of podcasts that are out there. Yeah. But not a lot of views on most of the videos that are the long format on YouTube, but the clips, we get a lot of views that way. So that's short really short clips. That's really the 1-2 minute pieces that the highlights of little sections. Those are really what you end up filming for the hour and a half in a podcast. It's funny, but we've had some really good conversations throughout. So anyway,
and also a plug for obviously Threefold. If you happen to follow Dapper Gaffer and don't follow these guys, that's a poor life decision. So we'll put the links in the description to those respective channels. And we should probably wrap this up, because we're gonna, after we get out of here, do a little studio tour with these guys. Yeah. We're just gonna, squeezing every second out of your guys.
Right.
But it's been really good to just have you guys in town in person. So fun. It's kind of I mean, it's cool to be out in Vegas and hang out there, but there's something about like being in your hometown and having your friends, stop out.
It is a little surreal because it's like NAB was last week, so we
Yeah.
just
It
saw
was
you.
just
Like
last
we
week,
see you
yeah.
once a year.
Yeah, right. This
We're
is
seeing you twice
double.
like, in 2 weeks.
And I think we should do, honestly, a little trip up to you guys. That would be,
it would be a blast.
yeah, if you'll have us.
We'd love it. It's kind of funny. We always joke about like, oh yeah, if you ever make it up there, it's like no one's gonna just happen to make it up there.
Yeah, we'll just.
We're not going to just happen to, but we'll make it happen. At
Yeah,
some point.
I mean,
I've heard
I'm not
Keenan
going-
has like a speakeasy
Yeah, it's
as well. So
Really?
worth the
I don't know
trip.
if that's secret or not.
Wait, is that a secret?
It's not now.
No. With Josiah's growing views, it's not going to be a secret.
Growing. Oh.
Growing views.
I thought you meant like my developing views on humanity. Or
Geopolitical situation.
But anyways, we should wrap this up. Thanks
Yes.
for tuning in. Thanks guys for
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
sitting out and
it's great.
chatting, and we'll see you on the next one.
That is your closer, isn't it?
Yeah,
We'll
I
see you on the
guess.
next one.
All right.
Oh, I don't know what we were talking about before we lost track of. Studio, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about your studio. The reasoning behind it. Yeah,
Kiko's got that pulled up if you want to.
yeah. If you guys,
Is this
sorry,
the
Kiko,
correct
go ahead.
one? Is this the right one?
Yeah.
Bottom left corner. Can you
I
put,
believe
can you put
so.
that on the preview?
It's
Do you
on
guys
video.
mind?
Just scrub through it or something.
Yeah, if you scrub through it, Kiko, and then do you guys mind just giving a little?
By the
bit
way,
of
these guys
background?
have a killer YouTube channel.
do.
Way bigger following than we have.
It's an honor.
Not for
Thank
long,
you for
though.
being here.
Yeah, so the whole idea with this was Keaton
Look at
and I
this
knew, we
space.
knew we wanted to purchase a building at some point in time. The whole idea was we knew we wanted to own a space just from like the security thing because it was like this is the long-term play for us. Like we are invested for the long haul in this, and we wanted something that we knew we had control over. And so we weren't necessarily in the market for it, but it came on, like it became available, and we went and looked at it and we're like, oh, I don't know if we're ready for this, but there's probably not going to be an opportunity. Bismarck, there's not like a bunch of real estate opportunities for commercial stuff. Specifically what we're looking for.
Put that on loop one more time, Kiko. That's just so cool. Great little overview of that space.
Yeah, and so this one came on, and what sold this was it was a 60-foot by 120-foot free span building. So no
big deal, right?
Yeah,
no
no
pillars.
supports, no pillars, and it needed a ton of work, and it was we could actually afford it, which was the best part. So.
Yeah. It
Because
had
it
some
was
restrictions with anybody else that is looking at a space that size needs a lot of parking, and there wasn't a lot of parking available. But we have a small team, and there is kind of some adjacent parking.
So you're saying that's part of the reason you were able to get it for a better price because it didn't have a lot of parking?
Yeah, so there was just not a lot of outside interest because of that, and it was like, oh, this actually works perfect for us. We have a team of 7. There's 10, 12 spots you could make work for parking. But we've had 300 people in there for an open house, and there's plenty of adjacent parking. There's a 3-city block parking lot right across the street from us.
Wow.
We're just blessed with that. Thanks
Yeah.
for a hospital for providing that, and not anything nice.
At
over
your
there.
request.
Yeah.
But aesthetically too, like what
I know.
what a great job you guys did on that.
Yeah.
And
Don't
you
look at
did-
the outside yet.
Yeah, the outside.
And
is the reason we
I mean,
wanna
you
show
can
that.
you can deep dive on their channel. You've got some great stuff of like what you went through on the build process, and you guys were like sweating doing a lot of that yourselves as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, that-
very cool.
That area is so great. And it's interesting because I came in kind of on when I moved here. Josiah had and some of the people here had already built out a lot of the
Pretty much just the offices.
the
right, at that
offices.
point?
Really, yeah, you're right. Actually, the photo studio wasn't built. The main stage was still the roof. I think was kind
I
of.
think we had just recently had it enclosed.
Yeah, correct.
So
Because I'd been here before that. Just to we've been friends online for a while, so I was like, I'll come over, just hang out. If you need any help around the studio, let me know. But I saw how much work it took, and Josiah's he's still gaffing. So he's still got his day job, and then he has to come here, make sure, project manage, and then a lot of it is do hands-on. I mean, we did the installation.
yeah,
the
well,
painting
I
we
mean,
didn't
the
do, but-
timing, in a way, was fortuitous and in a way was terrible, but because we ended up buying the property here and it ended up being during 2020, like during the pandemic. That wasn't the plan, but that's how it happened.
Great rates. Did you get a good rate?
Terrible rates.
Terrible rate.
No.
My one thing I think it was we had to do some steel work because we raised the roof on the main stage out there, and from the initial quote that we got on doing that to like when we actually went to pull the trigger, like I'm talking like less than 2 months later, it had gone up 300%.
Wow.
And it was just a constant battle of that with like whatever was available. But the upside was we actually started, because a lot of our work dried up, and probably yours did as well during that time frame. And me and another guy here both had a construction background. Yeah. So we just came and showed up here and put on our tool belts and swung hammers and slung mud for 6 months straight, like it was our job, So.
Yeah, but like I saw the amount of things it took, and just we're working on something, and then all of a sudden you have to look at drawings from an architect or contact the tile people. Yeah. So it's just a lot of these little things, but they add up. So how was that for you guys, doing it all yourself, but still managing your company, and clients?
Yeah, it was.
So Caleb project managed it. Yeah. So after we bought the building, it was like, all right, one of us has to, be the main point of contact.
It might as well be the guy with the mustache.
Yeah.
Was that part of the decision?
It was actually the only qualification that.
Well, I guess that's a clear and simple decision here.
Yeah. No, but it was very much a decision of like, all right, somebody has to project manage this thing. A lot of my job is a lot of the client side of things, so it made sense for me to stay on with that and run the business side of things.